which is being prepared. But yesterday I also directed that the Minister for National Treasury comes to the House to explain the issue of delays in disbursement of NGCDF and any other funds, including GAF. The Minister did write to the clerk to explain that due to earlier urgent engagements that are related to the budget process that is ongoing, he requests regrettably to appear to make that statement on Wednesday next week. And I have acceded to his request. So hold your horses, he will be here on Wednesday. What I'll probably do is direct the majority leader to compile any other questions apart from CDF that can be filed to the Minister for National Treasury, so that the question time of Wednesday next week, the 16th of April, is reserved for him, not just to talk about NGCDF, but any other related questions filed by honorable members. Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader. Silvanos.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, April 9th, 2025, in this afternoon sitting. The reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2024 and the certificates therein in respect of Bumbe Technical Training Institute, Bungoma North Technical and Vocational College, Bunyala Technical and Vocational College, Kenya Seed Company Limited and its subsidiaries, Kenya Seed Company Rwanda Limited, Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Services, Kenya Water Institute, Kenyatta International Convention Center, Kerio Valley Development Authority, Kibo Seed Company Limited, Lake Victoria South Water Works Development Agency, National Communication Secretariat, National Council for Population Development, National Environment Complaints Committee, National Industrial Training Authority, Nuclear Power Energy Agency Staff Car and Mortgage Loan Scheme Fund, People's Trust Party, Salaries and Remuneration Commission, Simlo Seeds Company Kenya Limited, Simlo Seeds Company Uganda or U Limited, South Nyanza Sugar Company Limited, State Department for Forestry, State Department for Medical Services, State Department for Public Health and Professional Standards, State Department for Sports, State Department for Tourism, State Department for Water and Sanitation, Statement of Outstanding Obligations guaranteed by the Government of Kenya, Tobacco Control Board, and Water Resource Authority. I beg to lay, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Silvanos. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Labor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 9th April 2025. Report of the Departmental Committee on Labor on the vetting of Dr. Jane Kere Ibunya as nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary, State Department for Public Service and Human Capital Development.
Thank you. Mwenyekiti Kamati ya Utangamano na Kikanda.
Mheshimiwa Spika, naomba kuwasilisha waraka ifuatayo kwenye meza ya Bunge la Taifa leo, Jumatano tarehe 9 Aprili mwaka wa 2025. Ripoti ya Kamati ya Utangamano wa Kikanda kuhusu ukaguzi wa asasi zisizo huru kikamilifu za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki na ushoroba wakati katika Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Shukran.
Thank you. Chairperson, Departmental Committee, Trade, Industry and Cooperatives.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, the 9th of April, 2025. As a report on the Departmental Committee on Trade, Industry and Cooperatives on the vetting of Ms. Regina Akoth Ombam for the appointment as Principal Secretary, State Department for Trade. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 9th April 2025. Report of the Departmental Committee on Health on the vetting of Dr. Uluga Frederick Ouma, OGW, nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary, State Department for Medical Services, Ministry of Health. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chair, Departmental Committee on Labor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give a notice of the following motion. That taking into consideration the finding of the Departmental Committee on Labor in its report on the vetting of nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 9th April 2025, and pursuant to the provision of Article 155, Sub-Article 3B of the Constitution, approves the appointment of Dr. Jane Kere Ibunya as the Principal Secretary, State Department for Public Service and Human Capital Development. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to give a notice of motion on appointment of Principal Secretary, State Department for Medical Services. That taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Health in its report on the vetting of nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary, State Department for Medical Services, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 9th, 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 155(3)(b) of the Constitution, approved the appointment of Dr. Uluga Frederick Ouma, OGW, as the Principal Secretary, State Department for Medical Services, Ministry of Health. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman. Clerk, you can go back to order number 2.
Order number 2, communication from the Chair.
Yamita, take the nearest seat. Honorable members, I want to give a short communication on an incident of violent altercation between a sitting member and a former member of Parliament. Honorable members, I wish to inform the House that I'm in receipt of an incident report from the Chief Sergeant at Arms through the Clerk of the National Assembly regarding a violent altercation that occurred within the precincts of Parliament yesterday, Tuesday, 8th April 2025. The altercation, which is captured in a video in circulation, involved the Honorable Umulkhair Harun Mohammed MP, a member of this House, and the Honorable Iman Falhada Deko MP, former Senator and current member of the East African Legislative Assembly. Also involved was a visitor whom I'm notified was a visitor to the Honorable Falhada. Honorable members, the Honorable Falhada was within Parliament on courtesy of the honor for Parliament to accord former members of Parliament and members of the IALA the privilege to have unhindered access to Parliament and access certain facilities reserved for sitting members, including the gym. Honorable members, continued enjoyment of this privilege by non-sitting members requires the benefiting members conduct themselves in decorous manner while within Parliament. It is therefore regrettable that having been accorded such privileges, the Honorable Falhada conducted herself in an undignified manner. Honorable members, having reviewed the video and incident report, it's clear that the violent altercation between the Honorable Umulkhair MP and Honorable Falhada casts Parliament in bad light and is likely to reflect adversely on the dignity or integrity of Parliament and indeed the sanctity of the precincts of Parliament. Ordinarily, order, Karemba. Order. Ordinarily, honorable members, such a matter would merit referral to the Committee of Powers and Privileges for consideration and recommendation of appropriate action. Indeed, several members keen on guarding the dignity of Parliament and its precincts have already approached me, requesting that I invoke the provisions of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act, Cap 6, and cause the incident to be considered by the Committee of Powers and Privileges. However, honorable members, given that the incident involved a sitting member and a former member, I'm inclined to first accord the nominated member, Honorable Mulher, the opportunity to explain herself and whatever explanation she gives, also to apologize to the House for the unbecoming conduct. With respect to Honorable Falhada, the Yala Member of Parliament, I note that she does not have a platform to address the House on the floor of this House. In this regard, I direct that the member explains herself to the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Chairperson of the Parliamentary Service Commission in writing by 5 p.m. on Monday, 14th April 2025. In the meantime, Honorable Falhada is forthwith precluded from accessing the precincts of Parliament, Parliament buildings and facilities for a period of 90 days, save on the day and time when she will deliver her written explanation to the Speaker, in which case she must be escorted by a sergeant at arms. Honorable members, upon reviewing the response by the Honorable Falhada, I'll guide the House accordingly on any further or other action that can be taken not only on her but also on the Honorable Umulkhair, based on the apologies that I have directed them to tender. Having said that, honorable members, I shudder that at the fact that the recording of the video of the altercation between the two honorable members is claimed to have been done by a sitting member of this House. Should the claim be ascertained, it will also attract the sanctions under Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act, Cap 6. Nonetheless, I hasten to caution members to resist the temptation of falling into such abhorrent behavior. Honorable members, I've told you before, sitting in my chamber, I've watched some members here filming the proceedings of this House. And I did call one member and cautioned him because the Speaker then on the chair did not notice. Let's avoid this kind of unhelpful behavior. I wish to remind all honorable members that rule number 4 of the Speaker's rules places the responsibility of the conduct of a visitor on the member who invites such a visitor to Parliament. So when you bring in any visitor, lawyers will know there is a doctrine called Raylands versus Fletcher. Automatically applies that if you collect and keep any dangerous animal, substance, or material, and such material, animal, or substance harms people, you are directly responsible for any such harm. I therefore request members to assist in, pardon? It's called the Doctrine of Raylands versus Fletcher. I therefore request members to assist in enforcing the Speaker's orders necessary for decorous conduct within the precincts of Parliament and the facilities accessible to visitors. Honourable members, I now direct the Honourable nominated member, the Honourable Mulher Harun Mohammed, to proceed to explain herself to the House and tender an apology in the manner set out by the practice of this House. Honourable members, as she comes to do so, I want to appraise the House that this kind of behavior is not new to this Parliament. In 1975, the late Honourable Jean Marie Seroney and Joseph Martin Shikuku were arrested in the presence of Parliament and locked up. In 1980, the then Assistant Minister for Health and Kirinyaga member, James Njiru, had a violent altercation with one Nahashon Juno in the private members' rooms. In January 2000, the Honorable David Mwenje of Embakasi had a violent altercation with the then MP from Bita, the Honorable Otieno Kajwang. In January 2001, the Honorable Ochila Ayako, then member for Rongo, had a violent altercation with Shem Ochodo in this House. On July 28, 1999, the Honorable David Murade had a violent altercation with the Honorable Stephen Dicho, trading blows in the presence of Parliament. In 1997, the Honorable Otieno Kopio punched an assistant minister called Joseph Misoi in the presence of this Parliament. This was a confrontation in presence of a member called Mukhisa Kitui. In 1980, the Honorable Justus Oletipis violently attacked the Honorable Robert Matano with a rungu in the presence of this Parliament. In 2006, again, the Honorable Mwenje and the member for Makadara, Honorable Ruben Dolo, had a confrontation in Parliament. In 2010, the Honorable Lotodo and an Honorable Lagat fought at the bar of this Parliament, and many others. So, Honorable Mulher, you now join the ignominious group of those, and the first woman to be involved in a violent altercation in Parliament. Of course, I have skipped Honorable Babo Wino and Jaguar had a violent confrontation and altercation in this House. I urge you, honorable members, you are called honorable because you are people of honor. And this honor is not yours. It is the honor of the people who send you here. So you carry that decorum and dignity not for yourself, but for the people who gave you the privilege out of many others to come to this Parliament to represent them. Thank you. Yes, Mbai, you want to fight? It's an honorable fight. Yes, Umulher, you will hear her in silence. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 42E, I rise to make a personal statement regarding the unfortunate incident that occurred yesterday within the precincts of Parliament and is now unfortunately in public circulation. Honorable Speaker, yesterday afternoon on my way to the mosque to make my Salah prayers, I met the member for Yala and former nominated Senator, Honorable Iman Falhada, a colleague in this house, met me and the Honorable Falhada and requested us to have a talk and catch up as we took an afternoon cup of tea. During our conversation, I inquired from Honorable Falhada about incidences where she had personally attacked me and abused me in public forums and social media, as well as extending her verbal insults to my extended family. I was seeking audience with her to find a truth, not anticipating that she would throw a cup of tea at me, an incident that blindsided me. Honorable Speaker, however, at the spur of the moment, what was to be a normal conversation turned ugly. Honorable Falhada publicly attacked me, and it took the intervention of other persons to stop her, hence the unfortunate incident yesterday afternoon. I wish to sincerely apologize to this House and the public for the incident and regret yesterday's events. Honorable Speaker, in my 28 years of life, I have never been involved in any fight, and I feel bad for what happened yesterday as a member of this House and as a Muslim woman. I wish to go on record that I hold the dignity of this House and the public in high esteem, and I apologize and regret yesterday's unfortunate incident. I apologize to my aggressor, Honorable Falhada, for the uncalled attack against myself and my family. My oath of office that I took behooves me to walk away, even when justified to respond. Honorable Speaker, I also wish to thank my colleagues and everyone who called me after the incident and offered words of guidance and wisdom. I'm forever grateful, and I will hold your close words of guidance, and I take lessons of yesterday's incidents in stride. Honorable Speaker, allow me to also express disappointment by those who took advantage of the unfortunate incident and decided to record and share with the public one of my lowest moments in life, and especially as a woman. Low moments are inevitable for every human being under the sun, and mine was yesterday. This reality calls upon us to extend arms and rather, This reality calls upon us to extend arms of embrace rather than of public humiliation. I, however, let this pass and forgive anyone who may have taken advantage of the situation. Honorable Speaker, finally allow me to reiterate my commitment to upholding the dignity of this House and to continue discharging my duties in accordance with my oath of office. I once again tender my unreserved apology to this House and the public for the unfortunate incident. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and God bless.
Thank you, Honorable Mulher. I also confirm that immediately after the incident, about 1 hour thereafter, the Honorable Mulher sent to the Speaker a message of regret and apology for the indignity visited on the House of Parliament with that incident. Thank you, Honorable Mulher. Once I hear from Falhada and we get a full investigation report, you still are not off the hook. Both you and whoever did the recording will get some further directions. I don't want to open debate on this, members. Yeah? Order, honorable members, you know, if I give you an opportunity to speak, you are going to discuss the conduct of the person of Honorable Mulher without a substantive motion, which is against standing orders. Whatever sympathies you have for her or against her, quietly go to her and tell her so that she can feel your empathy. But to allow you to comment, I will not, because it will offend standing orders. Both Falhada is an honorable member of an institution that is part of our parliamentary setup in the region, and she's elected by this House to go to Iyala. So she enjoys that privilege. So does Honorable Umulher. The issue of recording is being investigated by parliamentary police and the sergeant at arms. I don't want to have any presumptions as to who it was. Once the report comes, you'll get communication. On the same issue, something different. If you are captured in that video, depending on what you are doing, you will also be punished. There is a criminal offense called aiding and abetting the commission of a crime. Yes. So you are either aiding or abetting. Yes. Yes, Umulher? I thought you are done.
No. Speaker, I need to mention that I am short-sighted, so when I was in the middle of the scuffle, I noticed Honorable Mpuri was recording the video. And immediately after the incident, I approached him and asked him not to release the video because he was the only person recording. So I wonder what his intention was, and I wonder if this was a targeted attack and if he was part of the incident, because the other lady was an outsider from Parliament. I did not anticipate a fight. Honorable Speaker, if you saw the video, I was in a white dress. Somebody in white does not come to fight. And the lady is known to
There
me.
is no scientific evidence to that.
Mr. Speaker, it is in the doctrines of the female dressing that we wear white to show peace. So I want to let the House know that Honorable Mpuri is the one who recorded the
I
clip.
can tell you, Umulher, that in the last parliament, in the 12th parliament, we were violently attacked in that gallery by the member for Thika, Alice Nganga, and she was dressed in white. So your statement is
Mr.
not
Speaker, in
factual.
Islam, white means a different message.
So
But I saw him record it, and I really, really want to ask him why he did that, because he was the only person who was holding
Don't
a
ask
camera.
him, leave him to the speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. We will deal with it once the investigations are over. Commissioner Makao, what is it? Not on this matter.
Indeed, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think you've really ruled accordingly, but I want to inform the House. Yesterday, when I had lunch, I was seated next to the honorable member of Raleigh, one Honorable Kaangara. And I think, Mr. Speaker, let me say you've ruled very well, because if we escalate this matter, it will still go to the public. And it is our duty to protect this parliament by all means. I request, Mr. Speaker, as you have guided, that we leave this matter here, because even me, as a member of the PSC, I witnessed and I saw who recorded. And I thought, because he's an experienced member of parliament, we will not release it to protect the image of this parliament. So I think, Mr.
Assist
Speaker,
the investigations by recording a statement at the Parliament Police.
Chairman, Mr. Speaker, you know I'm the chairman security, so I think it will be my rightful duty to do that.
Absolutely.
I
Go
thank
ahead
you.
and do
Thank
so.
you. Okay.
On a light note, Honorable Nyikal tells me that when Honorable Njuno and Njiru violently fought here, they ended up being treated by him at the ICU at the Kenyatta Hospital. So don't go that route, honorable members. If you are unable to argue with each other, to reason with each other, leave the scene and wait for another day. Next order. Honorable members, we have a supplementary order paper in place that we'll use. Let's go back to order number 6. I'm told the Vice Chair of Trade, the Chair is here to give a notice of motion. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that taking into consideration the finding of the Departmental Committee on Trade, Industry and Cooperatives in the report on the vetting of nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary, State Department for Trade, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 9th April 2025, and pursuant to the provision of the Article 155(3)(b) of the Constitution, approves the appointment of Ms. Regina Akoth Ombam as Principal Secretary, State Department for Trade. Thank you.
In Mayaka.
Mheshimiwa Spika, naomba kutoa arifa ya hoja ifuatayo kwamba Bunge la Taifa liridhie ripoti ya kamati ya utangamano wa kikanda kuhusu ziara ya ukaguzi kwa taasisi zisizo huru kikamilifu za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki na ushoroba wakati katika Jamhuri ya Muungano ya Tanzania iliyowasilishwa kwenye meza ya Bunge Jumatano tarehe 9 Aprili mwaka wa 2025. Shukran.
Thank you. Many of you should try and emulate that. You know, Swahili and English enjoy equal status under our Constitution. Enda kwa library utafute kamusi ya Kiswahili. Itakusaidia. Next order. Skip. Yes, Janet.
Mr. Speaker, I seek your indulgence on a matter, Mr. Speaker, of procedure. Mr. Speaker, you see, this House is a legislative house. And Mr. Speaker, the process of legislation begins when a bill is tabled for the first reading. And when a bill has not appeared on the floor of the House, Mr. Speaker, is no longer part of the process of this House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and even the standing orders prohibit anticipation of debate, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there are very, very important and sensitive bills that come to this House. Some which are very, very sensitive in nature and very important for the country. And those kind of bills, Mr. Speaker, require first the executive to prepare it in their form and shape, and then it comes to Parliament, and that's why certain bills there's extensive public participation, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I saw somewhere yesterday, I wanted to seek the attention of the Finance Committee and Planning Chair, Mr. Speaker, speaking on the bill of the finance bill, Mr. Speaker, that we're expecting. That, Mr. Speaker, if the National Executive will not be able to raise enough revenues, the Chair was announcing that we may be forced to increase taxes, Mr. Speaker. I don't know whether it was in the Citizen News, Mr. Speaker. I don't know whether that information is factual, Mr. Speaker, because I want to ask, Mr. Speaker, it is not the business of this House to increase any tax. It is the business of Treasury, Mr. Speaker. We are here to safeguard the interest of the public, Mr. Speaker. And finance bill does not belong to Parliament, Mr. Speaker. For the record, finance bill belongs to the National Executive through the Treasury, Mr. Speaker. And the owner of the finance bill is the Minister for Treasury, Mr. Speaker, in charge of Treasury. So, Mr. Speaker, this Parliament has suffered enough for the last 2 years by carrying burden for the Executive, Mr. Speaker. We are not members of the Executive. We are a legislative arm of government. And our work is very clear in the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, that we are supposed to do legislation, oversight, and representation. I want to ask my colleagues, Mr. Speaker, let us desist from defending and protecting the work of the executive in a manner that's not legislative. Let us wait until the executive brings their ideas and their proposals to the floor of this House, when we are going to have our say, and when we are going to say whether we agree with them or we disagree with them, Mr. Speaker. And I want to ask the committee chairs, please, let us not hold brief for the executive. Let us allow the executive to do their work. Because if you hold a brief for the executive, you will be speaking on behalf of the full house. And every member here is expected to take responsibility. Now I'm seeing a debate ensuing in public that there is, finance bill is like this. We don't have any finance bill. And the public needs to be informed that finance bill comes towards the end of the budgetary process. I'm happy the majority leaders arrived. And the finance bill comes, we are supposed to pass the finance bill by 30th of June. So it can come on 26th of June, 25th of June, 1st of June. As of today, the public is being fed with lies that there is taxation on trees, taxation on oxygen. There is no finance bill in this house. I don't think we have seen any clause of any finance bill before this house, Mr. Speaker, with your approval. So, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I'm saying, please, we have interest of the public to protect as a house, and we have legislations to do. Let us desist from commenting in a manner that we think we are helping the executive when we are destroying things, Parliament, Mr. Speaker. Parliament has the final say on any legislation. So let the executive bring what they want to bring. They can even say they want to tax mountains. It is us who will deny them that right. So, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, now final conclusion is that, please, what I saw yesterday, whether it's factual, I'm not sure. The chairman is here, he can agree with us. But this is what we suffered last time. Because, Mr. Speaker, last finance bill, through the leadership of the majority leader, we ended up withdrawing all the offensive clauses of the finance bill as a house. But the lies went ahead of us. And by the time the truth arrived, people were invading Parliament. So this time, we want to do things in a manner that is in tandem with what the House of Parliament is expected of, by engaging the public, and we don't expect any taxation at all, because why should Kenyans be more taxed more than this? So, but those people who are propagating lies, those people who are confusing Kenyans, I don't want to name names here. I know some senior members of the society who are lying to Kenyans that there is a finance bill. There is no finance bill before this house. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Majority Leader. Hold your horses.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And let me first thank the Leader of Minority for having raised this issue. And indeed, I had a discussion on WhatsApp last night, very late at night. I think it was about 1:45 a.m. with the Leader of Minority over this issue when I saw his text and I noticed he had not slept. And we were worried, Honorable Speaker, that the same thing that happened last year is likely to happen this year if we do not stem this thing in the bud as early as now. Because as the Leader of Minority says, it is true. There are people who are propagating the lie that there is already a finance bill in the House with all manner of taxes. And you know, Honorable Speaker, where I come from, there's a saying that goes that otakanywereire do ekerita. The direct translation of that is the English saying that he who wears the shoe knows where it pinches the most. It is members of this house who can tell you where it pinches the most when we allow disinformation, misinformation to take root, and propaganda, Honorable Speaker. And it is sad, Honorable Speaker, as the Leader of Minority has said, that it is the people who ought to know better who are propagating these lies. People who have even served in this house as members of Parliament. And you see them all over the media alleging all manner of taxation that is not before the House. I don't know whether they work in Treasury to know what Treasury is going to bring. The National Treasury is even yet to table the estimates for the next financial year that will then inform what needs to be financed. Because a finance bill is a consequence of what is to be expended by government, then government decides this is how we intend to raise revenue. And that is why is a statement on revenue raising measures. that the Cabinet Secretary comes to read in, at the beginning of June. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, is just to implore on Kenyans. One, not to believe the lies. Two, to fact check. Honorable Speaker, last year, 2024, Kenyans were fed with all manner of disinformation, falsehoods on what was contained in the finance bill. The few offensive clauses that were there in the finance bill, a week or 2 weeks before consideration of that finance bill in this House, none other than the chair of the Finance Committee informed the country of all the retinue of amendments that were being proposed to deal with those things that Kenyans considered offensive, like taxation on bread. You remember the taxation on motor vehicles, and all those things were removed. But Kenyans ended up saying, reject, do not amend. Honorable Speaker, if this House is told to reject every law and not to amend, then we have no business having a parliament in this country. Because legislation or the legislative process begins with legislative proposals, which are then amended as informed by Kenyans during public participation. Honorable Speaker, I do not need to belabor what happened last year, and we need not go to that pain, back to that pain. But we must inform Kenyans that we are in an era of disinformation and misinformation, especially on social media. But unfortunately, many of our colleagues in the fourth estate also pick up from that and report what is being reported on social media as lies as if it is truth. And Honorable Speaker, the fourth estate has a greater responsibility to inform Kenyans on the truth more than anybody else, Honorable Speaker. What we say on this floor, Honorable Speaker, is on record. If I lie, even 100 years from today, Kenyans will get to know whether myself or the Honorable Junet lied. So when the Honorable Junet says there is no finance bill, there is none as we speak. And when the finance bill is proposed and it comes before the House, it will not be a secret. It will be published. And Honorable Speaker, I want to implore and thank the clerk's office. When we did the tax amendment laws last year, after the fall of the finance bill, we did the business laws 1 and 2, the tax procedures amendment bill of 2024, and the tax amendment laws of 2024. When we did that, Honorable Speaker, we allowed the National Treasury to first go out and inform Kenyans what they intended to do and get the views of Kenyans. We then did a very elaborate public participation through the leadership of the Finance and National Planning Committee under the leadership of Chairman Kimani Kuria. And eventually we were able to pass those laws on the 4th of December last year without incidents. Honorable Speaker, I have said before, those 4 pieces of legislation were 70% of what was contained in the finance bill. Yet they passed without incidents. 70%. Therefore, if the 2024 finance bill was as offensive as those who propagated the campaign of disinformation did, then the 4 finance laws, the 4 laws that we passed in December, would be hurting Kenyans today. But they are not.
Wind up.
Part of the benefits, Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, was the tax waivers that Kenyans are enjoying today. Tax waivers that they were denied in June of 2024 through the finance bill, but they had to wait until December 27th for those tax amendment laws to become effective for them to enjoy the tax waivers. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, let me support what the Honorable Junet has said and implore on Kenyans to fact check when bills are published. Please make a point of visiting the parliamentary website. It will have bills. Those bills have, at the back of every bill, has objects of a bill. If you do not understand what is in the bill, just go to the last page and read the objects of a bill, and you'll be able to see what is intended to be changed by that particular legislative proposal. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Kimani, I will not open debate on this. You are the chair of the committee.
Yes.
And I want to speak from the authority of the chair that I have not approved any finance bill to come to this House. Neither have I approved any request for taxation measures to be brought to this House for your debate, approval, or rejection. Yes, Kimani?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. From the other side, I would like to thank my leader, minority leader, for raising this at the floor of the House. The incident, Honourable Speaker, the leader of minority is speaking to is a show on NTV called Fixing the Nation. And I must congratulate Nation Media Group for that particular discussion. What they're trying to do and what the show was trying to do to explain to Kenyans, what is the budget-making process? Where do we start? Discussion from the budget outlook paper when it comes out, to the budget policy statement, to the estimates, to if there is a finance bill. Mine was civic education to the country. And you follow the entire conversation. It was a whole 2 hours discussion. It was a very engaging discussion on how even Kenyans, if Kenyans want to have their views heard, how they need to communicate when those particular matters come, Honourable Speaker. The biggest challenge you have in this country, unfortunately, even the most educated that you think would want to read and verify statements, they do not. And unfortunately, we are reduced to very short clips. And that's why you find TikTok is now the most popular social media platform that are only 1 second or 2 seconds or 3 seconds long. And therefore, the misinformation comes on the speaker. For the last 3 days, let me inform this House. Reject Finance Bill 2025 has been trending on X between number 3 and number 8. Until the whole discussion came. In fact, I wondered, am I not the chair of Finance Committee? Because I would have seen the finance bill that people are talking about. Talking about all manner of misinformation, including that there is in the Finance Bill of 2025, there is a tax for newborn children called Taifa, something, Honourable Speaker. And unfortunately, people, I follow the comments of some of these people, you go to their accounts, you think they are distinguished scholars, and they are the ones spreading that propaganda, Honourable Speaker. I will be the least person to be on the defensive for such proposals before they come through to the floor of the House. Because when the decision comes, I have an influence with my committee on the final decision on this particular proposal. And therefore, I'm very careful in my communication. Honourable Speaker, it's unfortunate. Some of us paid the ultimate price of vast misinformation. I lived away from home for a long time because of fear of attack from members of the public. I lost personal properties. And therefore, this misinformation by these people should stop. And I don't know what we need to do, Honourable Speaker, because people, they knowingly, and I say unfortunately knowingly, misinform the members of the public on this particular matter, Honourable Speaker. And I urge this House, when debate comes to this House also, despite our political divide, right now we're in broad-based arrangement. We're in agreement on many things. We don't know how it will be before we go to the next election. Even when we are in different political orientation, let us also not misinform the public just for political gain, Honourable Speaker. When you are approving those amendments, Honourable Speaker, the minority side then said reject, not amend. Even when they knew for sure that those proposals were good. Honourable Speaker, we will go, for example, to debates in some of these media stations, this particular proposal, Honourable Speaker, and on break time I will ask the person I'm debating it, why are you saying this and you know it's true? And then they tell me it's politics. Let us not play politics with misinformation. It can be very dear, it can be very helpful, and it can lead to serious destruction that can almost be irredeemable. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. I want to repeat, there are no tax proposals before this House. There's no finance bill either before the Speaker for approval or before this House. And any misinformation, disinformation, or propaganda should desist forthwith, because we are raising unhelpful tensions for nothing. Let's leave it there. Clerk, call out order number 8. We put the question before we go to questions and statements. And Majority Whip, if you can check if the minister listed to answer questions is in the House. You can cause him to come to the chamber.
Order number 8, the Excise Duty Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2025, Second reading. Question to be put.
Honorable members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable members, I'll now put the question at order number 8, and I confirm we have quorum to vote. That the Excise Duty Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2025 be now read a second time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Excise Duty Act and for connected purposes. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Thank you. Go to order number 9.
Order number 9, the County Government's Additional Allocations Bill, Senate Bill number 1 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the additional allocations to county governments for the 2024-2025 financial year, the responsibilities of national government and county governments pursuant to such allocations and for connected purposes.
Thank you. Majority Leader Kimani, Chairman of Finance, has asked me to clarify. I meant there is no finance bill that the Speaker has approved to come to this House. Okay, Kimani? Anything else you are doing is not in question. What was publicized is that there's a finance bill that is taxing trees, taxing all manner of things, taxing goats, taxing cows. We know very well there's no such thing before this House. Go back to order number 7.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable members, the CS for Education is in the House. Honorable CS, you are welcome to Parliament. To once again, I think this is your second interaction with the House. In answering questions, try and answer questions as concisely and precisely as you can. Honorable members who have questions, I'll allow the questioner and one, maximum 2 joyriders so that we can make progress in the interest of time. Honorable Majority Leader, we were supposed to have the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury to come and speak to us. I've already told the House he will be here on Wednesday, so you can accumulate any other issues directed at the Treasury so that he can be able, as he talks about CDF disbursements, to answer any other questions relating to finance on Wednesday. Question number 001 of 2025, Abdi Shurie. Member for Balabala.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, could the Cabinet Secretary for Education, 1, explain why students enrolled at the Kenya Medical Training College, KMTC, are excluded from receiving Higher Education Loans Board support, while students in other public institutions such as technical training institutions are eligible beneficiaries? 2, could the Cabinet Secretary state the measures put in place by the Ministry to ensure such discrimination is abolished? 3, could the Cabinet Secretary specify the legal provisions or government policies being applied by the Ministry to justify such denial of help support to KMTC students? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for inviting me. Mr. Speaker, I request to respond to the 3 questions as follows together. The Higher Education Loans Board currently funds students in universities and technical and vocational education and training institutions under the Ministry of Education. Help is able to fund these students because it is provided with a budget to do so through the Ministry of Education. The Kenya Medical Training College is under the Ministry of Health. Help is ready and available to provide funding to students in KMTCs once it is supported with the necessary budget by this House through the Ministry of Health. Indeed, when resources were availed to help did provide support to KMTC students. This happened, for example, in financial year 2013-2014, when there was a partnership with USAID, and in the year 2022-2023, when the Ministry of Health provided resources to help. May I assure the House, therefore, that HELP is committed to support all eligible college and university students in pursuit of their tertiary education without any discrimination. We look forward to working with this Honorable House to explore the possibilities of enhancing the funding to cover the yet-to-be-covered institutions in our tertiary education space. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I submit.
You are satisfied? If you
No,
are, you don't have
Honorable
to ask
Speaker, I'm not satisfied.
Go ahead.
The reason is when he tells me, I think what was been put in the kitty of help should cater for all students irrespective of under what ministry the institutions fall. Because by saying enhancing the budget, then they'll be able to give others, the KMTC students support. Doesn't make sense, to be very honest. So I think what will happen is the kitty should cater for all students irrespective of whichever institutions they are studying at. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Dr. Bukose.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you, CS, for the response. But the response is unsatisfactory because since COOP took over the admission of KMTC students, why should KMTC students be excluded from accessing HELP through the normal education budget that is given to HELP, such that now you have to ask them to get a budget within the Ministry of Health? Why should that happen? Because they are both of them, even those in the TTI, Technical Training Institutes, or in diploma courses, they all access HELP. So why should the KMTC, who are admitted through the same portal of COOPs, be excluded?
Dr. Nyikal. Give this one next to you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the answer is actually inadequate. Why is it that the Ministry of Health had to provide money to help so that the students can get help? Yet, with other colleges, no other persons give the money. The same, why did the students from KMTC need to get money from USAID to support them? And further, how is this linked to COOPs, the Kenya Central Colleges and Universities placement? Because there is an issue, a legal issue, of whether students in KMTC should be admitted through COOPs or through KMTC itself. And this is actually related to this denial. So I think we are not getting the full information that we require for this matter, which also links to the Commission of University Education. And that's where the legal issue is, because the Commission of University Education then demanded that this also gets, COOPs also admits these students. So there's more we need to know on this, Mr. Speaker.
It is very simple. KMTC students are students like any others. HELP resources are public resources appropriated by this House. Can you take steps to ensure that KMTC students also access HELP financial facilities?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, members. It is true that KMTC students are students like any other in the country, and it is true that HELP, as an institution that funds students, should be able to fund all of them. I think there is an issue of misalignment with the domiciling of KMTC under certain terms in the Ministry of Health that leads to this discrepancy. So we will work with the Ministry of Health to align that aspect so that we can get resources to help in order to support the KMTC students. I think the alignment is what is the key with respect to funding the students in KMTC, because we've already aligned the issue relating to placement. COOPS places all the students. So we should extend that further to ensure that funding is also covered under HELP in order for our students to be funded in KMTC. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I think it's not just enough to say that we shall be aligned, because we already have students of KMTC within colleges. I think the best answer this Cabinet Secretary can give this House is how soon can that undertaking be done? Because we need timelines so that this is dispensed with.
We'll make progress. I'll direct the chair of Health Committee and the chair of Education. Yes, Wanjala, what is it?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is not only KMTC that are suffering out of this. Students going to study education in universities are paid by HELP. How about those who are in colleges who are also not being paid by HELP? They also need to be assisted. Other than that, it will be discrimination. I want to minister to, as they ensure that KMTC is aligned, could he also confirm that the teachers in colleges will also be aligned?
Point noted. I was directing the chair Health, the chair Education, to arrange and meet the minister and bring a report to this House in 2 weeks on the steps taken to ensure that KMTC students access HELP loan facilities and any other tertiary institution students, because these are public resources and these are deserving cases. Next, question 018 of 2025, Honorable Umulher Kazim.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I would like to ask...
Which chair are you addressing?
Sorry, I'm sorry. Honorable Speaker. You know, Mr. Speaker, I'm always used to you chairing us in House Business Committee, so I'm always thinking when I see the Speaker is chairing House Business. I'm sorry for that. Could the Cabinet Secretary explain why it has taken inordinately long to integrate Duxi and Madrasa classes in primary and secondary schools, yet the provisions of Section 95(2)(e) of the Basic Education Act envision operationalization of such programs to enhance access to education by all students. 2, to clarify whether the lack of integration of Duxi and Madrasa learning programs in the formal education, which has led to a high rate of children being out of school. 3, state the measures in place to ensure integration of Duxi and Madrasa learning programs, including steps taken to ensure the accessibility of such programs to all schools in the country. Number 4, provide timelines for the operationalization of Duxi and Madrasa learning programs in schools. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Tandaza.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Is the Honorable Member in order to skip question 1 in the order paper and therefore rearrange to the extent that when he's on question 5, he says it's question 4? She has not read Roman 1 as stipulated in the order paper. Thank you. No, that's why she was saying the last question was saying it's 4 instead of 5 because she never got Roman 1.
But she started
Thank you,
with
Chair.
Roman 1. I was following.
Then how did she end with the 5 being question 4? If she started with that one. Thank you, Speaker.
That question, Tandaza, has only 4 limbs. Roman 1, 2, 3, and 4. Minister?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is indeed correct that Section 95, subsection 2E of the Basic Education Act 2013 provides for regulations for the integration.
Sorry, Honorable Tandaza, I'm told you are looking at the earlier order paper. We have a supplementary order paper where there is proper sequencing. Minister, proceed.
So it is indeed correct, Mr. Speaker, that Section 95, subsection 2E of the Basic Education Act 2013 provides for regulations for the integration of the madrasa, duksi, and pastoral programs of instructions into the formal education system as appropriate to improve access and retention. As a ministry, we recognize the critical role that duksi and madrasa learning programs play in education of the young learners of the Islamic faith. The integration of duksi and madrasa programs is not only a constitutional and statutory obligation, but also a necessary requirement to achieve equity, inclusion, and cultural respect in the delivery of education. In this regard, Mr. Speaker, we are actively taking steps to ensure that integration of duksi and madrasa in our formal education system. The first key step was anchoring this in the strategic plan. As we speak, Mr. Speaker, the National Education Sector Strategic Plan 2023-2027 provides for the development of a duksi and madrasa policy and guidelines
Hold
to
on,
ensure...
Minister. Yes, Umulher?
Honorable Speaker, I cannot hear the good seers because there's a lot of murmuring and a lot of meetings around here.
Order, members. Members on their feet, take your seats. The illegal Kamkunji in front of the clerk's table, can you be disbanded? Disband that Kamkunji. And Sergeant, can you improve the volume of the microphone of the minister? Go on, Minister.
As we speak, Mr. Speaker, the National Education Sector Strategic Plan 2023 to 2027 provides for the development of a duksi and madrasa policy and guidelines to ensure seamless implementation of these learning programs. The Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development is currently finalizing a framework that aligns these programs with the national competency-based curriculum while ensuring that the spiritual needs of learners are respected. We have held constructive consultations with Muslim religious leaders, education experts, county education boards, and civil society actors to ensure cultural and religious relevance in the design of this integration process. The involvement of this broad range of stakeholders is intended to ensure that the integration is relevant from a religious and cultural standpoint and that it has wide acceptance. There have been challenges in the efforts to implement the duksi and madrasa learning programs. These challenges include the following. One, the absence of standardized curriculum, since the religious learning curricula in duksi and madrasa schools vary widely in content and methodology, including language, which complicates harmonization with the national curriculum. Many duksi and madrasa instructors have not undergone formal teacher training recognized by the Teacher Service Commission. This limits their eligibility for deployment in public schools due to lack of certified religious educators. Most duksi and madrasa institutions operate informally and lack adequate facilities for integration with formal school settings, particularly in the ASAL counties like Mandera, Wajir, and Garissa. However, as I've stated, we are working with stakeholders to address these challenges and to set the stage for the integration of these learning programs. Subsection 2 of that question, or Roman 2 of that question, Mr. Speaker, the ministry is keen on implementing the policy of 100% transition across all levels of basic education. Article 53 of the Constitution provides that every child has a right to free and compulsory basic education. The government is implementing the 100% transition policy in basic education that cuts across all levels of education from pre-primary to secondary schools. The government implements a multi-agency strategy to enhance the transition process across basic education levels. This includes annual enrollment campaigns with the support of the National Government Administration Office. For the ASAL areas, the ministry also has other strategies geared towards promoting retention and transition in basic education. These include the provision of school meals to learners and the establishment of low-cost boarding schools to retain learners in school. The integration of madrasa and Duksi learning programs in the formal education framework will therefore complement the other existing strategies for ensuring that all eligible children have access to basic education. Question Roman 3, Mr. Speaker. The ministry has already initiated several strategies to ensure effective integration of Duksi and madrasa programs. A structured Islamic religious education curriculum has been developed for use in Duksi and madrasa settings under the competency-based curriculum. Pilot schools in several counties, including Lamu and Garissa, are currently testing the integration model. In Lamu, for example, the schools are the Bilal Integrated Academy and the Afarsi Muslim Academy. In Garissa, the schools that are piloting include Madrasafu Manar Islamic and Madrasaful Tamkin. The Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the Teacher Service Commission and the Institute of Special Education, has trained over 300 instructors from Duksi and madrasa backgrounds. This training is aimed at equipping the instructors to qualify for recognition and deployment to formal institutions through the recognition of prior learning. We are also in the process of developing a policy and guidelines for Duksi and madrasa. The policy is expected to operationalize the integration of Duksi and madrasa to the formal education system. The policy and guidelines are undergoing legal review, followed by public participation before being launched and implemented. And question subsection 4, Mr. Speaker, the integration of Duksi and madrasa learning programs in both primary and secondary schools will be progressive, expected to achieve national implementation by 2029. The table below, there's a table that we put in our written answer. The table below outlines the planned activities and timelines for implementation of the Duksi Madrasa program. For example, the policy and framework finalization is expected to be done in Q3 and Q4 of 2025. The pilot phase will be Q1 and Q2 of 2026. Evaluation and scaling will be Q3 of 2026 and Q1 of 2027. And full national implementation will be between 2027 and 2029. I submit.
Omolheri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, part of that act, a section of the act, the pastoral program of instruction, has already been operationalized. And I just want to hear, give us the timelines, the exact timelines, tafadhali. Honorable CS. Honorable Speaker, when you speak about Northeastern, we have close to 900,000 children out of school because they've been affected by the same issue I'm raising here on the Duksi and Madrasa. Mandera alone is 280,000 children who are out of school. And you know, the Honorable CS spoke about the retention, the attraction and retention strategies of children into schools. I just want to ask him, 280,000 students is a big number, and it's actually a disaster in waiting if this issue is not addressed as soon as possible. Please tell us the exact time you think this will be implemented. Thank you very much.
Minister. Hold there. Russell.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, listening to the questionnaire and the minister, I think what the Honorable member from Mandera is asking, can Madarasa and Duksi become part of formal education in Kenya? And considering that Madarasa and Duksi are part of formal Islamic education, the minister has been really struggling to tell us whether it can actually form part of our formal education, particularly in the basic education in Kenya. So for that reason, let him explain, is it possible for that to happen? And he's just saying about Mandera, Wajir, and Garissa. But madrasas are all over, wherever the Muslim communities live in Kenya. Maybe there are more in other areas. So for that reason, is it possible, Mr. Minister, for this to be part of our formal education? If so, how can it be structured so that these youngsters can still attend madrasas, but at some point, they don't miss out on formal education, whether they will go to the nursery school or entering primary school at the right age. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The question relating to whether or not Madrasa and Duksi can become part and parcel of our formal education, the answer to that question is yes. And I've indicated that we are working on a policy and strategies to integrate it in our CBC currently. And we have indicated with respect to timelines that we are working towards ensuring that they'll be fully part and parcel of our formal education by 2027 to 2029. So that integration is taking place, the policies are being done, the guidelines are being done, we'll do public participation so that it's part and parcel of our education system to ensure that we have 100% transition in order to deal with the issue of the children who are out of school, perhaps for one reason or another, including the strategies that we are employing, including school meals that we use to retain students in school. So all that coming together and working toward 2029, I've given a timetable showing the pilot, the Mandera, the Wajir, the Garissa, ones that I mentioned about, and Lamu, those are pilots. They are pilot projects that we are doing to ensure that by the time we are rolling it out 100%, it is a workable program that allows all our children to be in one school, but they can learn their madrasa, they can do their duksi, but they are still part and parcel of our formal education. So we have to come up with a curriculum that covers all that and guidelines that ensures that they are not left behind or there are no gaps in the education. So the period within which we intend to roll out national application of that program is by 2029. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Minister. Member for Kadiani, Robert Mbui.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, please allow me to advise the CS that when engaging with members of this House, the people's representatives, this engagement should never ever be an exercise of PR. That everything he says here must be factual and must be something that is verifiable. Last year, Mr. Speaker, before I even go to my question, I raised a matter here on the preparedness of the ministry for grade 9 classes for 2025. The CS came to the House and told us that they were ready and everything would be ready by January. Mr. Speaker, we have finished first term, and even in my own constituency, we still have a problem,
Robert
Mr.
Mbui,
Speaker.
this is question time. You are making a speech.
Mr. Speaker, I am raising a concern that concerns the minister on question that I raised here last year, Mr. Speaker, on the preparedness of grade 9 classes in the country. And the CS came to the House and said he would be ready by January. Mr. Speaker, the first term is over, and there are problems out there. So I'm just saying, as he's dealing with these issues, let him take them seriously and be factual with the answers that he gives the House, Mr. Speaker.
So go ahead and ask your question.
So, Mr. Speaker, on today's matter, Mr. Speaker, I want the CS to clarify whether the criteria for placing teachers in public schools takes into consideration the teacher-student ratio, and if so, provide details on the recommended ratio and whether it has been achieved, and if not, how much is the deficit? One. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I would like the CS to provide a report on the recruitment of teachers for junior secondary schools, including the number of slots allocated to each constituency and the manner in which they were recruited by the TSC to allay fears of the public that teachers were probably recruited by members of parliament. And third and finally, Mr. Speaker, elaborate on the measures taken by the ministry to ensure the timely replacement of teachers who exit the service through natural attrition. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Robert. Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question part 1, Mr. Speaker. The Teacher Service Commission determines teacher requirements in public schools using the established staffing norms and note the teacher-student ratio. The staffing norms provides for the ideal number of teachers required in a school based on the following. 1, for primary schools, staffing is based on 1 teacher per class plus 1 additional teacher per school. B, for secondary schools, the number of teachers is determined by the curriculum-based establishment of the school. The CBE provides a more accurate picture of the staffing needs since it aligns with the number of teachers required with the subjects learning areas offered in the school, given that teachers specialize in different subjects. While this criteria ensures optimal utilization of available teachers, it is acknowledged that the ideal serving levels have not been achieved in public schools due to budgetary constraints. In 2025, for example, the teacher shortage stands at 98,461 teachers. Response to question part B. To address the teacher demand in junior school, the government has made significant efforts to recruit and deploy a total of 76,378 teachers since the introduction of junior school in 2023. These efforts include 1, 9,000 teachers recruited in 2023, 2, 39,550 teachers recruited in 2024. These were interns converted to permanent and pensionable in January 2025. Number B, 20,000 interns were recruited in January 2025 and are currently serving in junior schools. And also deployment of qualified primary school teachers to junior schools. In this respect, a total of 8,378 teachers have been deployed from primary schools to junior schools. And number 2, the deployment portal remains open to allow willing and qualified primary school teachers to apply to junior school positions. A detailed breakdown, Mr. Speaker, of the teacher recruitment per county and per sub-county is provided in appendix number 1. Mr. Speaker, the Teacher Service Commission follows a structured replacement process to ensure minimal disruption in schools.
Yes, Robert, what's the point of order?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, the CS has alluded to the part of the question, which is the number of slots allocated to each constituency, and he's made reference to a document. Is it possible for me to get it, because he's responding to my question, so that I can look at it?
Minister.
Yes, it's available. Maybe the clerk can submit it, because we submitted it earlier today. It's attached to our response.
Clerk, can you go on?
So the Teacher Service Commission, Mr. Speaker, follows a structured replacement process to ensure minimal disruption in schools when teachers exit due to retirement, resignation, or attrition. The Commission projects teacher retirements at the start of each financial year. A request for replacement funding is submitted to the National Treasury for approval, and lastly, once funding is approved, the Commission then immediately initiates recruitment to replace the exiting teachers in that financial year. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Robert.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I might not have much to follow up, because the information that he's just given, he said he's presented it, so I would need to go through it. But there is a part which concerns the recruitment of teachers, which is critical, and I would like him to clarify, because it's been out there, the public believes that members of this House are the ones that are recruiting teachers for Teacher Service Commission. I would like him to clarify whether it is members that are recruiting or is the Teacher Service Commission that is recruiting teachers in Kenya.
Minister, you may also clarify. You say that in primary schools, staffing is based on 1 teacher per class plus 1 additional teacher per school. Is it 1 teacher per class regardless of the size of the class? Is it 1 teacher per stream or 1 teacher per class? Because we have some schools, I know, where 1 class has up to 8 streams. Can they operate with 1 teacher? Let's take a few joyriders before Cynthia.
Honourable Speaker, now that we are talking about recruitment, I would also like the CS to address a concern, Honourable Speaker, and tell us why a teacher who has, by the name Mary Chebet from Chepsiria in Nandi County, Honourable Speaker, who graduated in the year 2020, who has a TSC number and cannot be employed by the same TSC because TSC claims that her combination of physics and computer is not admissible because she did not do computer while in high school. Honorable Speaker, this lady did not admit herself to the university and she did not graduate herself from the university and she did not get herself a TSC number. And she cannot therefore, Honorable Speaker, be denied employment by TSC on grounds that she did not do computer while in high school. Where was the commission? Where was the ministry when she was in university and when she was given the TSC number?
Yes, Honorable Milemba.
Honorable Speaker, when the minister speaks about 1 teacher per class, does he consider, for instance, CBE, curriculum-based establishment, or even if it were in the primary, is it practical that you can actually have 1 teacher per class? That's overloading the teacher. But more importantly, Honorable Speaker, there are the teachers, Honorable Minister, who actually qualified as teachers of P1 in 2011. And to date, they have not been employed. Honorable Speaker, these teachers qualified when they were about 28 years. They have stayed out for over 16 years. And they are at the age of about 48. They are remaining with only less than 10 years to retire. What are the plans the minister has put in place to consider this group of teachers?
Retire from where, if you are not employed?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for correcting me that they can't retire because they have never worked. So they are going to pass through the system without ever getting employed. Which plans does the minister have in place to consider this group of